The present tense for GCSE French. If you want to feel more confident, whether you're higher tier or foundation tier, this is the video for you. These are the things that we're going to go through in this video, but to help you feel more confident and feel able to use them in your writing, in your speaking, and recognize them in your reading and your listening. How would you translate this sentence on the screen? Translate it now aloud. If you said she speaks to the teacher, you would be correct. Did you also translate it as she is speaking to the teacher? If you did translate them both ways, excellent, keep watching. And if you didn't, just remember that we use the present tense to talk about what is happening now. Have a look at the rest of the when to use section to make sure that you are confident in when to use the present tense in French. Do you know the key time phrases used in the present tense? Again, most of these should be fairly straightforward. Double check your spelling of aujourd'hui, because that's something that people make a mistake with. And do you know the difference between tous les jours and toujours? Sometimes people don't. Regular verbs in the present tense. So the present tense generally just has one verb, and you form it in the regular present tense by taking the verb, the er, ir, or re verb, jouer, finir, vendre, taking off that ending er, ir, or re, and replacing that ending with one of the endings that are on the screen now, depending on who you're speaking about. If you don't know those, it would be good to learn them as a high-level student because you will be marked on your accuracy, and if you have the correct ending on any regular present tense verb, that will be help you with your marks. Also, do you know your irregular verbs? This is where people kind of struggle a little bit at higher tier. Do you know all of these verbs in their forms for all the different people? If you don't, make sure you note down the ones that you don't know and learn them. And try to use them in your writing and your speaking, and they may come up in translation activities. For GCSE French higher tier, you also need to know your modal verbs. Here are the ones that you need to know in their forms for the present tense. One thing I want to make sure is when you are using these modal verbs in the present tense, make sure that they are followed by the infinitive verb. So that's the er, ir, re form of the verb, because the modal verbs don't carry a main meaning. If you look at the first sentence, je peux parler français avec mes amis. It says I can speak French with my friends. Je peux, I can, or I'm able to, doesn't have much meaning. You need to use a verb to add the meaning, and that second verb has to be in the er, ir, or re form. Parler, finir, regarder, like in the examples here. So the modal verb is conjugated or changed to match the person that you're talking about, but the next verb after it has to be in the infinitive form. Let me talk to you about reflexive verbs now in the present tense. Here are a list of useful ones for higher tier and some also for foundation. But you're asking me, how do we use them? So it's a reflexive verb. The verb part is like a normal verb, the bit that ends in er, re, and ir. You can see them: disputer, ennuyer, fâcher, habiller. However, they also have a reflexive pronoun. The reflexive pronoun is the se bit. And when you put that into a sentence in the present tense, you need to adapt that se to match the person that you're speaking about. Here's a list of how the se changes depending on who you're talking about. What's the word order? Well, generally you would have the subject pronoun like je. Next is the reflexive pronoun. Make sure that that matches up with the people or person that you're speaking about. And if it's followed by a vowel, make sure to use the apostrophe. And then you have the main verb with the correct ending. You have to have at least 3 parts to a reflexive verb in French: the subject, the reflexive pronoun, and the verb with the correct ending. I promised a recap of the present tense in French. We've only been here 4 minutes, so there is bound to be something that I've missed up that you might want to know. If there is something, then leave me a comment below and I will do my best to answer it. Here's a recap of the main points that we've spoken about for GCSE French present tense revision. Make sure to download the worksheet and the cheat sheet if you'd like a copy.